Welcome back to my channel. So it is time to start planning the spring garden. It is the last week of January and I actually feel like I'm kind of behind because some of the seeds that I want to start indoors should have been started like middle of January, which I had bought the seeds, but I just never got to it. But I did a fall garden last year and it didn't work out so well. I'm gonna try again for spring, and I feel like a little bit from the fall, and now feel like I'm a little more prepared. And the things that I like to eat, I feel like work best in the spring and the summer, so I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier. I am in Texas, I'm in Houston, so if you're in Zone 9B, you're in Houston, you're in Texas, I'm gonna show you some of the things that you can be planting indoors to get ready for outdoors in the spring, and some things that you can just sow directly in outdoors in the springtime. So in order to be budget friendly, I went to my Dollar Tree and picked up some seeds from them. They had a pack, like you could buy 4 for $1.25. And if you are trying to start a garden, you know it can be expensive when you're buying soil, trying to create a raised bed garden. And it costs a little bit of money to get started. But I think once you get started and you're in the groove of it, the expense kind of comes down. But that's why I went to Dollar Tree. I picked up some seeds. I also picked up a couple items from the store because why not? Here are a few things that I purchased from Dollar Tree. They had these planters. There were 12 in a pack for $1.25. They also had these bigger ones. I think they were 5, I think, or 5 or 6 in a pack for $1.25. So to me, that is a bargain because I can start some seeds in here, and I have all of these to start some seeds, and then each pack was just $1.25. I picked up one of these. I picked up some plant trays. So I would start off, if you are trying to start off with gardening this year and you just don't want to spend a lot of money, I will go to your Dollar Tree, pick up some seeds. They have some flowers as well. So even if you don't want to grow vegetables, herbs, and fruits and whatever, and you just want to grow some flowers, go to Dollar Tree and pick up some packs of flowers. They even had microgreens, which I have wanted to try for such a long time. I feel like if you don't want to deal with the hassle of outside gardening, like these are very small things that you can do. Microgreens are a good start, a good option for indoor planting because they're very quick and easy to grow. These particular ones, it says 2 to 5 days to germinate and 5 to 10 days to harvest. This is probably one of the quickest things that you can grow at home. Okay, so when it comes to planning your spring garden, I think the most important thing is to identify the items that you eat. What is it that you like? And what do you eat a lot of? For me, I use a lot of bell peppers, green bell peppers, habaneros, jalapenos, cayenne, serranos. I like peppers. So I know that for my garden, whether in spring, summer, there has to be peppers. I use a lot of tomatoes. I make a lot of stew, so we use a lot of tomatoes in my house. So I'm definitely working on, how can I grow tomatoes and grow a bountiful amount of tomatoes. I'm not gonna try to grow something that I don't eat. Like for the fall, I experimented with a radish, and I tried it just because they say good fall items are radish. It's in the garden, but I bought some of them from the store and I didn't really care for it. So right now it's just taking up space in my garden, and I'm just like, well, it's gonna grow and I have no care for it. So it was a waste of time and energy into it. So I do not recommend growing things that people say to grow. My first advice is to identify what it is that you like, make a list of the things that you go to the store and buy the most of, and start there. And then start with things that, just are easy to grow. One of the easiest things are your herbs, like if you use a lot of rosemary, thyme, basil, oregano, those are good things to start with. And then I would say pick one fruit to try. Besides tomatoes, because tomatoes are not vegetables, they're a fruit. So when doing a spring garden, you want to choose maybe 1 or 2 herbs, 1 or 2 vegetables, and 1 fruit. That's what I'm going to be doing for my spring garden because I'm new to this. I don't want to overburden myself. I'm still learning. And so I feel like this video is helpful for people who are also just starting and don't know what to do, don't know where to start, feel overwhelmed. I'm also in that space, and I'm trying to make sure that I am not overwhelming myself. So that's why I like the rule of, get 2 herbs, 2 vegetables, and so 2 herbs, 2 vegetables, and 1 fruit. So that's 5 items that you want to focus on, and then you can add some flowers in there. Right now I'm on a journey of see what happens, and that's why I'm trying to do it in the most inexpensive way, because I don't want to do see what happens and I spent all this money and it didn't come out the way that I wanted it to. So yes, let's get to planting some of these and create the plan for February and March. So my first choice is cabbage because it's great for coleslaw, and I love coleslaw. It does say to start 6 weeks indoors before the planting season, which starts in February. So I am definitely way within the perimeters to plant them indoors. Second choice for vegetables are my lettuce, which I have the iceberg and the gourmet blend variety. The gourmet blend is to be sown outside directly into the soil, and I can start the iceberg inside 6 weeks before planting season, which in my area is April, early April and May. For my herb, I am going with basil. I absolutely love basil. I use it in almost everything I cook with. I even dry them to make my own season. So definitely a staple in my garden. As I mentioned earlier, I love peppers, so habaneros have to be in the garden. They were actually my most successful plant last year, and so I'm adding them again for the spring and summer. My first fruit slash vegetable, and I say that because I feel like the general public, the population does not consider tomatoes as fruit. We see them more as vegetables, but it's a fruit. So I'm going to be doing the beef steak tomatoes. I do have a different variety of tomatoes growing at the moment. It's actually grown really, really tall for the season, and it's flowering at the moment. So I want to add these beef steak tomatoes to that bunch as well. Next is watermelon, because what is a Texas garden without watermelon? I love it, so definitely going to be growing this. It was my first time. I have the Sugar Baby watermelon and the Crimson Sweet watermelon. The Sugar Baby can be started indoors 4 weeks before you transplant it into the garden in April, while the Crimson can be planted outdoors starting in February. Seeds starting indoors are cabbage, lettuce, basil, habanero, beef steak tomatoes, and then I'm going to do the Sugar Baby watermelon starting indoors. For outdoors, gonna start with the Crimson watermelon in the second week of February. I'm gonna do some sweet corn, okra, and 2 varieties of bush beans. I love lavender and I love chamomile tea, so these I'm going to do in containers. First, I'm going to try some of them in containers and some of them in the raised beds and see how they grow. Then I'll also be adding these 2 to the mix for my spring garden. This is the seed starting mix that I've used for all my seed starting plants. It's made from peat moss, coconut coir, and vermiculite. I think it works really well, but I would like to go to my local nursery and just ask questions about other alternatives. I usually get this one from Home Depot. I also learned this technique from another YouTube video where you just mix the water and the soil first and not putting the water after, so that way you're not overwatering the soil for your seeds. I'm starting with the habaneros. I do like to put 2 to 3 seeds in a cell just in case one doesn't germinate. I've had instances where I'll plant all 10 in this tray and only 3 will germinate, and that's very disappointing. So I started doing 2 to 3 seeds in each cell just in case. So my phone actually ran out of space. So this is the next day. I had to basically clear out my entire phone and iCloud to have space to record content. I did the same methods for the beefsteak tomatoes with putting 2 in each cell, and I put them like across from each other, so that way if they do both germinate, I can split them up into 2 plants. For the watermelon, I'm doing 1 seed in each cell because they are bigger seeds. So I'm hoping I don't have to worry about them not sprouting. So I just did 1 in each cell and I only did 4. Next is basil, and the seeds for basil are very tiny. They're very hard to grab onto, so I kind of try to sprinkle about 4 to 5 on each cell, and I did all 10 because I do want a lot of basil. Next, I'm on to my flowers, which is lavender and chamomile. You will see that these seeds are extremely small, so you're just going to sprinkle as many as you can on the top of the soil and press lightly. So for the rest of the video, I'm just repotting some bell peppers that I have growing. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. If you are thinking of starting your own garden, it's not as hard or as intimidating. Let me take that back. It can be a bit hard or challenging, but it's not as intimidating if you have the spirit of just experimenting, a spirit of openness, a spirit of, kind of go with the flow kind of mentality. But it is fun. It's a process. It's a journey. For me, it's more of like a mental, self-care practice. And just like the satisfaction of growing your own food is beautiful. I will post a video of me harvesting my carrots that I started in the fall, and I was just so happy. Like, I could not describe the happiness that I was feeling. So, planting it's a fun thing to do, and I think once you get a hang of it, it goes smoothly. Like, I started my fall with hesitation, but for spring and for summer, I'm a whole lot more confident in my abilities to grow something that is going to yield more than what happened in the fall. For my last tip, if you're going to be sharing your seed trays with different plants, be sure to write the number of how many cells you use. That way it's not confusing when it's time to transport them outside. We've come to the end of the video. If you watched till the end, thank you so much. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you are starting your gardening this year, let me know what you're going to be planting in the comments.